Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Oh, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Throughout Earth's history, hemp's been used, no mystery. Hemp is legal to pay your taxes for more than a century. Check your faxes, the founding fathers made sense to me. It's time to grow hemp legally. It's time to grow hemp legally. It's time to grow hemp legally. Think of all the uses, it's money that's well spent. Right now, no excuses, it's time for hemp. Sustainable green industry, that's our intent. A better place this world will be, it's time for hemp. Fuel and food and clothes and soap. Housing, cars, yeah, cars, no joke. Henry Ford built a car of hemp. It's time for us to do it again. People be employed, balanced farming as it's meant. Right now, it's time for hemp. Hemp is the first necessity of wealth and protection of the country. Words of Jefferson Thomas. He grew hemp, why not us? It's time to lift the hemp ban. It's time to lift the hemp ban. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. You can make a difference. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Look at all that money. Yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Yeah.
Thank you for taking Time for Hemp. I am your host, Casper Leitch. You are listening to the Time for Hemp broadcast all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Roku TV, anywhere there's sound found on the internet. We are around to be found on the internet. Please share us with your friends. It's Tuesday, and on Tuesday we put a spotlight on our amazing friends up in Canada with my joint host, Kelly Kristen. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Casper. How you doing today?
Life is a slice of heaven when you're living in Portland, Oregon with a medical marijuana card. How's life in Canada for you?
Well, hey, we're moving to that direction. So, life is, every day is a great day. I've said it for many years, and I still believe it because it is. Living the dream, so to speak.
And one of the parts of your dream is being friends with people who are seed inventors. I call them seed inventors. You know how you invent a seed, but I know you cross seeds, pollinate seeds, and come up with wonderful plants that make you go, ooh la la.
Absolutely. Today, again, we're extremely lucky to have Franko, our friend from the Strain Hunter, as most of you may know him, around the world from representing Greenhouse Seeds. He's always a phenomenal guest, always has got lots to say and very, very interesting things to say. Are you there, Franko?
How you doing, guys? Hi, Kelly. What's up?
Like you say, every day is a great day. So recently it was great to see, of course, in Vancouver. I know it's always great to do all the trade shows. I know that you're just also in Las Vegas, so we've had a chance as Canadians and Americans to have an opportunity to see you in person, ask you some questions. Nothing better, of course, than talking to the horse's mouth, so to speak, when we have questions on growing or particular strains that might be good for our area, or what you might recommend as specific, hopefully, types of strains that might work for us medicinally. It's always great to see you guys at the shows, and I hope to see you soon. I believe we've got, you just also come back from somewhere in Europe. Sorry.
Yes, I was very recently at the Napoli Expo, and we did also the Vienna Expo just before the autumn. So it was very exciting because we had Vancouver show, then Vienna, then Napoli. Now there's going to be Prague very soon. So we're in the middle of Expo season, and it's lovely to tour the world and meet nice people like yourself, and like to see how the industry evolves in different countries so rapidly. It's really amazing.
You bet. I'm wondering about what you guys are thinking over there across the pond. Recently, or Canada very soon, within the next year, should go to, we're moving towards complete legalization of cannabis recreationally. Obviously, the States has made tremendous strides, with several states now being legal for recreational cannabis. Also in South America, recently we just did a show in Mexico City, where, again, the very first show. There's an upcoming show, I believe, we're going to hopefully see you at in Colombia, which again is a first
Yes,
time
Medellin.
show.
Medellin is the first expo in Colombia. That's super exciting. They have legalized personal cultivation up to 19 plants per person there, I heard. And I don't go to Colombia since 2011, and really, I'm really excited to go back. It's going to be awesome.
Well, also the first trade show there, so I don't know. It must be exciting as a breeder and a seed producer to see legalization coming. That was 10 years. None of this was even happening at all. So it's been a lot. No. A lot of territory has started to legalize cannabis.
It's an exponential curve, as we call it. It's boosting up faster and faster. It's really a contagious virus, this legalization process, and I like it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Bringing cannabis to the world, I'm sure it feels good. I can't imagine the testimonials you've had over the years from people all around the world who've grown cannabis for their own medicine and have been able to treat themselves, and all the wonderful stories and the pictures you must get from, everybody's grow, whether it be indoors or outdoors, their successes, their failures.
It's beautiful. It's a collection of life experiences and connections between humans and this plant that is really building some experience. And I really believe that it's going faster and faster in the right direction everywhere in the world. There are a few islands left of prohibition, but it's falling rapidly, Kelly. You can really see it from the perception that the normal people have about this plant, from the perception that the non-cannabis users have, People that don't use cannabis are not scared anymore about it, and they start recognizing the medicinal value. So we are going the right way.
100%. I mean, I'm in the country of Canada. The province that I live in, which is called Alberta, is the most conservative. We've been just recently, we had 45 years straight rule of the Conservative Party provincially. And, we have nothing here. We don't have a dispensary. We don't, it's crazy. You look at Vancouver, which is our next, a sister province right next door to us, where you can go and there are literally 100 dispensaries in the Vancouver area. There are plenty of places that you can go and consume cannabis at a vaporizer lounge, or maybe they have an area in the back where you'd like to, roll a joint or smoke it, take a hit off the bong. They have areas in the back that are outside that you can do that. We have none of that here in Calgary. And just recently, we also had our first trade show, so to speak, here in Calgary, and specifically for the cannabis industry. So, we're talking the super heart of conservatism in Canada, and we finally had our first show also. So, onward and upward.
That's a very good sign.
yes, business is improving. As a distributor here in Canada, we're seeing new stores coming on pretty much on a daily basis. Interest in our products. It's an amazing time to be a part of it, and tons of fun.
Absolutely, and also we cannot forget that this whole race to legalization is like based on true experiences of legalizations that now are being witnessed by politicians around the world. I was recently at the expo in Napoli, and for the first time I saw the mayor of the city of Napoli was walking around the expo with some of his crew, and I met him personally, and he was talking with some other people about the Colorado model. And so This is something that a few years ago would have been impossible just because there wasn't a real legal model to tap from. And now there is. There are many, actually, several models that are differently implemented but equally effective. And so you can see that in many countries around the world, the people that want to push for legalization, they finally have a very powerful weapon in their hand, which is a comparison to a real existing successful model.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And coming from a country really that was probably considered never or going to be very, very far away. I mean, I had no idea the United States would actually have recreational cannabis legal in their country before Canada. It was
it's amazing. It's really amazing what happened later in the last 10 years. First they got a black president, which was already incredible for me, and then they legalized marijuana. What's going to be next? A woman president?
That could very well be. I don't know what you guys are thinking across the pond, but we're kind of hoping so. I don't know. I think that Donald guy they got is he's out there.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no idea. But I tell you one thing. I know that it doesn't really matter who is going to win there and the whole politics, because in the end, I believe that any politician in America will see the economic benefits derived from legalization, and they would just go for it because they just love the money in America, and they need it at the moment. In Europe, there is a big problem with this synthetic cannabis now. There's a lot of countries like Germany, for example, or France, still fairly illegal, at least in some regions. And that's where the production and sale of this synthetic cannabis is spiking now, because that's legal and it can be sold in the smart shop legally. And people died on that stuff. It's really horrible what's happening. It's incredible. And that only happens in a few places where the normal cannabis is not available. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a funny situation. We had a run. Well, they had a run of it also in the United States, but they pretty much, I believe, ran it into the ground. They have also in Canada. We had a few years there where they were just staying one step ahead of the police. If they made a particular code, DNA code, identified it and said, okay, you can't make this anymore, then they would just change the code again slightly and build a new one, and they continued on this way for a while.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's still going on with those synthetic cannabis.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
it is scary. It is scary, and like you say, we've had some deaths. We've had some crazy stuff happen on this particular product, and I hope that I couldn't even understand it here. In all honesty, the people that were purchasing it were people in the oil patch industry here in Canada. Why? Because they test for cannabis and they didn't test for obviously these synthetics. So they became very popular very quickly, and to the detriment of everybody as far as I'm concerned. And I'm happy to report that it's no longer seems to be an issue. Everybody seems to have got their heads back straight on and are no longer making this stuff available and making it difficult and illegal for people to have it here in Canada.
What about the next shows that are going to be in Canada and the United States? There's going to be really big ones very soon, huh?
Absolutely. I know that the U.S. has really exploded with different shows. It's really difficult to choose, which ones maybe a guy should start to go to now, because there are so many. We're going to have to start making choices as to ones that we're willing to go to and ones that we just, you simply can't make it because they're on the same weekend as one somewhere else.
Way, it's nice to see. On the way, it's nice to see how the industry grows so fast. On the other way, as you said, it makes it a bit more complicated logistically for everybody involved to be present everywhere and to know where to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, to give you an idea, there was the Karma Cup here out in Toronto, just in recent history. Of course, you were here for Vancouver. You were also here. The Lift Expo also had one in Toronto in the spring, which you were present for. Thanks for coming again to that one.
That was really nice.
And then
it was a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was. It's the best show in Canada right now. Definitely had the biggest turnout, the most amount of people. I was surprised Vancouver was a little slower than what I had prepared for. The show here in Calgary blew up, and again, that's because it was super small. Franko, as first shows go, a lot of times they're really small. People are trying to feel out to see if it's worthwhile to go. But as like usually most places here, where we're starved for it in Calgary, because we live in this conservatism zone and we have absolutely nothing here. The public was starved for this type of thing. The vendors that were there did extremely well. So you see it you see it in the United States. The same thing with what's exploded in Denver. There was absolutely nothing going on in Denver. Now they've got some phenomenal trade shows there, numerous shows. It's really spurning a lot of business. But for guys like us, we're really having to now pick and choose where we can hang our hat for a particular trade show.
Yeah, it's a lot of traveling, a lot of air miles.
Well, hopefully that translates, and when you do finally get some time off, you got some air miles, you can travel somewhere in the world.
Exactly.
Holiday. So where does a guy like Franko travel on holidays when he gets to go to crazy places like the Congo and Malawi, and where you go, you're with the people, I get that feeling when I see you guys and I watch your videos, and you're actually, you're in with the people. It's like when I travel and I like to go to Mexico, I don't hang on the beach at the resort around the pool. I like being in the back away from everywhere where the people of the country are and experiencing what they do and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. It's like when we travel as ambassadors for this plant and for figuring out different realities around this plant, around the world. And it's really amazing to see the relationship between the cannabis and the people in every country. It's so different place to place. And it's so deep always, and so ancient, and so profound. And for me, it's really a way to not go off the beaten track. To not fall in the tourist trap and see only the fake image of a country. But thanks to the fact that we go strain hunting and we go really deep down underground in those places, and with the local contacts, the local growers, the local underground guys. So we really have the chance to experience reality, and that's very powerful. That gives you a lot of insight into what it is, the relationship between man and this plant.
Yes, absolutely, and it's so universal, really. I mean, it's surprising. It just doesn't matter where I've been in the world, and not nearly as many places as you, but like you say, the plant is respected and loved everywhere around the world. And we see it opening up. Yeehaw! More trade shows.
Yes.
Try to make as many as we can. But it's like you say, it's great to see them happening in places like here, Calgary, Denver, in the United States, where they would never have happened before. Just recently, Mexico City, now Colombia. Now also for you guys, you have not only your seed line and your movies, you also do Nutrient. And the Nutrient has opened up like another whole industry of trade shows for you. So it's naturally doubled it at a time when your own industry is doubling. So
yeah, it's incredible. It's a whole range of possibilities that opens up. Also on the medical level, we have GH Medical now, our new medical company, where we do research on cannabinoids for medical use. And that also has opened up a whole new range of possibilities. Like when we came back from Congo, from filming our latest Strain Hunters documentary there, we realized that Congo had a very unique situation for malaria. There was a lot of malaria and very little access to malaria medications for most of the rural population. And so when we were there during our filming of our documentary, we had the chance to use cannabis oil, like Rick Simpson style oil, to treat people with heavy malaria symptoms. And we saw how beneficial it is. I mean, it's incredible how good it is for people who have malaria, to calm down the symptoms and to make them feel better. And so we decided to go forward, and we, thanks to the links that we made during the making of the documentary with the Congolese government, we started a project that we are now a little bit hush-hush about still. It's not really official yet, but it will be in the next few months. It's one of the first ever medical projects in Africa where cannabis is involved. And so with the Congolese government permission, we are going to make a test for the use of cannabis oil against malaria in Congo.
Wow. Awesome. But just great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm heading there next week, as a matter of fact.
Nice. Yeah. The medicinal properties, we all know that really was sort of opened the door to recreational cannabis. We knew here in North America that we had to start with medical, and it's been well over 10 years that it's been coast to coast. Here in Canada, we've had a medical program, and but still not much research. So awesome to hear that you guys are moving forward with some of that. I know there's been a ton of research going on in Israel, of all places. They have vaporizers right in the hospitals. It's incredible to see. Who would have thunk that 10 years ago or 15? It just wasn't even in anybody's psyche for sure. So people, when you see shows like Sanjay Gupta, where he shows an epileptic child who is having 300 seizures a week, starts using cannabis oil and moves to 3 a week, how can you not want to explore the possibilities of this plant? And there are so many compounds. Nobody's even tried to do anything with them yet. There's a whole world to discover yet in this plant.
And we are going step by step. So I'm really feeling confident that in the next few years, a lot more will come out even than what came out in the last few years. Because the curve, as I said before, is exponential now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's growing at a rapid pace. All kinds of people are getting in the industry that were never in the industry before. Of course, once
I get hundreds of curriculums a week in my mailbox, in my email. Literally hundreds of people write me every week from all over the world because they want to join somehow the cannabis industry, and they have no idea how, and they ask me how they can do it, where they can start from, how can they enter in this new world. And these are all, most of them, I would say 80% or more of the emails I receive in this matter are people who love cannabis, who have been cannabis users or cannabis growers all their life, but they're people that have nothing to do in their professional life with cannabis, and they ask me how to switch, how to move into cannabis for their professional life because they want to work with this plant, But literally, Kelly, I receive hundreds of these messages every week. I don't even reply anymore. It's impossible. It's just, it's incredible.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's, I guess, your time is so short as it is. I mean, you're still trying to develop new strains. I know recently we've added 7 new high CBD strains to the lineup. I'm assuming that there is more coming down the pipeline.
We are finally getting ready with the land races after we let people wait for over 5 years.
But
good things take time, as we all know.
Going to build up with all of the videos.
Yes.
How do people get? Can they watch the videos? Are all available on YouTube, or they can just go ahead and?
We have our own YouTube channel. That's Strain Hunters channels on YouTube, as well as they can watch our videos on Vimeo, on different platforms. There's a lot of sharing on Instagram and Facebook of our videos as well. But the easiest, reliable way is to go on our YouTube channel, Strain Hunters channel.
Nice, excellent. So there you go, folks. If you haven't seen any of the videos, they're phenomenal. It's crazy. I can't imagine anybody who's interested in cannabis wouldn't like to be traveling the world to search out some landrace strains and to have them available to the public. Hopefully,
already more than ready with the packaging and everything. The strains themselves, I did selection on 80% of the material, real breeding material, breeding blocks.
Cool. Well, must be super satisfying for you to know that there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there using your cannabis medicinally and feeling better for it every single day.
It's a true honor, man. It's a true honor to be an ambassador for this plant, for real.
I have no doubt. Yeah, I have no doubt. The medical side of things, are you planning on sort of publishing papers or do you know where that's going to be headed as far as your research goes that you're going to be doing in the Congo?
At the moment, we are doing research, developing a software to connect to different cannabinoids with different sicknesses through the existing research that has been done worldwide. But with Congo and with other universities in Europe, we are launching clinical trials. So after we will be able to do clinical trials, we'll come out with some real information. But it's going to take time. This is like a real scientific process.
Right. So it's just you're just at the very, very beginning.
Yes, it's a brand new adventure.
Okay, cool. So you have a grow facility there that you're growing cannabis and then you're harvesting it, and so you're starting like sort of basically right from scratch, or do they already have?
Yes, that's the plan. Absolutely.
Right.
Production, extraction, distribution, and clinical trials.
Cool. Well, as you know, there are many other compounds than the two most common spoken about now, THC and CBD. There's been just no research, very little done. We know there's, of course, a lot going on in Israel nowadays with vaporizers right in the hospital for patients to use. It's awesome to see it happening around the world. And the more research, the more benefits were just going to be plentiful. There are so many compounds that haven't even been tried to study them yet. So it's exciting to see what in the future this relief, how much relief this plant will bring to the masses. I know that you have such a crazy busy schedule that we were going to short time you today. I know we'd like to have you for the whole hour, but it's I think you're tough pressed. I used to say there's not hours in the day, but I'm sure for
yes.
There's not enough days in the week.
Exactly, man. That's my situation. You got it, Kelly. It's scary. But it was really nice to be on the show, as always. I look forward to the next time already. Let's keep in touch about it. And we certainly are going to see each other in Medellin very soon, Colombia.
Excellent. Well, safe travels. Do you want to throw a shout-out to your website again one more time?
Yes, everybody. You can watch me on strainhunters.com. And thank you, Time for Hemp, for diffusing all this fantastic information about this plant. We are all soldiers for the same army.
Absolutely, and it's always an honor to have you on our program. And as Kelly said, we look forward to your return and wish you all the best in all you do.
Thank you, guys. Take care. All the
Take
best.
Care.
Ciao.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
make sense.
This is Casper Leitch with the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network, and I'm hanging out with my friend Kristen from KDK Distributors, and Kelly and I are going to be talking about some of the wonderful ways of enjoying recreational and medical marijuana. I can tell you, Kelly, over the years I have had the opportunity to enjoy various bongs and pipes and dabs, and this thing vaporizing, it's a whole new experience, isn't it?
It is. I highly recommend it for you, for anybody, actually. I think everybody should vaporize. Probably the biggest reason is health. Let's face it, we know that combustion creates well over 20 carcinogens when you burn your cannabis to consume it. So with vaporization, zero combustion happens. As a result, there are well over 20 carcinogens that you are not breathing into your lungs when you use a quality vaporizer. Keep in mind that if you're looking at vaporizers, certainly make sure that the air isn't coming in contact with anything that can be harmful for you to inhale, and that it has proper temperature control. If you run across those two things, you've got a vaporizer that will probably work really, really well for you, hopefully last a long time, and be much better for your health in terms of introducing less carcinogens into the body. There is an added benefit, of course, with vaporization that people aren't aware of. It's not magical, but it'll actually extend the life of your cannabis. Literally, you use less cannabis when operating a quality vaporizer as opposed to combusting it, whether it be through a joint or a blunt or a pipe, bong, whatever the case may be. You lose a lot of the active ingredient just because of the intense heat. So since those temperatures aren't reached with vaporization, you recover a larger percentage of the cannabis active ingredients that you're looking for. So as a result, you need to use less cannabis with a vaporizer to achieve the same effect. So for medical patients, this is huge. Not only is it healthier for them, but it saves them majorly in the pocketbook. And I ask patients all the time, and they use 50 to 70% less cannabis after purchasing a quality vaporizer, strictly because they are more efficient. They're not magical, they're just more efficient. They're lucky enough that the temperatures reached don't, kill the active ingredient. You're actually getting more of it into your body. So it's awesome. I think everybody should own one. Yeah, I understand, of course, you can't, there are home models and portable models and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it isn't convenient or whatever. But if you have one at home and that's what you use mostly, then you're going to benefit yourself. Your body's going to thank you, and your wallet's going to thank you.
How do you go about finding a really good vaporizer on the market? Because like you talked about the heating and the way it's filtered. But, there are a variety. There are some that fit in your pocket. There are some that fit on your desk. I know actually a handful of people who will only vaporize, and they are pretty fussy about their vaporizers. The Herbal Air is one that some of my friends love, and they love it so much that they'll even haul it around in a suitcase everywhere they go to make sure that they've got it. They got an extension cord so that they can use that Herbal Air and enjoy the benefits of it.
Funny that you mentioned that, because I take an Herbal Air, and I use that exact product myself personally for various reasons. I take one on holidays with me because I'm gone for usually 2 to 3 weeks. And in that time, the money saved by taking along a vaporizer pays for it. And I just give it away to some lucky person wherever I happen to be staying. And I get to consume my cannabis there in a much healthier manner. And I'm able to, give it away at the end, because I certainly can't bring it back, as the customs people wouldn't take too long.
And one thing I do know about you enjoy giving vaporizers out to people who need them for medicinal purposes.
Well, let's face it, Casper, you and I have both been around long enough to see a lot of medical patients, and the vast majority of the medical patients simply cannot afford much. They're on assisted income, a disability pension, welfare, assisted income for the severely handicapped. It depends on where you are and what the programs are. But let's face it, these people have trouble with the money they receive in a month just to be able to afford rent and food. And then, of course, they have to buy their medicine. And then to try and afford a quality vaporizer, it just isn't in their grasp. So these are the people we're looking for. I know that you're out there, and if you're listening to this, we do give away a free vaporizer once a month. It's very simple. Just send me an email to Kelly, Kelly, at kdkwholesale.ca, and tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll throw you in our small barrel, and hopefully we draw your name and send you a free vaporizer. Shipping included. We deliver it right to your door.
Well, that is an act of love on behalf of you and your team, Kelly, and the marijuana movement, I know, truly benefits from that because, as you pointed out, it's healthier, and it certainly helps the patient make their medicine last longer, and there's other benefits for it as well. I know the first time I tried a vaporizer, I actually tasted what I smelled. You know how, like, when you smell chocolate, you bite into chocolate and it tastes like chocolate, or you smell rose once in a while when somebody uses rose and you bite into a bacala or something and you go, oh, there's rose in this? Well, I've always wondered over the years when I smelt train wreck or smelt skunk, I wonder what this would taste like. Well, you can certainly taste the aroma, can't you?
It's amazing, the difference. Of course, with vaporization, depending on the temperature that you're using to start, you will, on the very first bag that you vaporize your wonderful herb with, the flavor and taste is amazing. Like you say, it's literally like tasting what you can smell. Of course, each successive bag reduces in flavor. And, of course, once you get up to the higher temperatures and that kind of stuff, yes, it starts to lose its flavor. But certainly in the beginning, you get that wonderful flavor. And, that's extremely nice. Also, of course, the smell is much more diminished. It's not that it's non-existent, but if you're in a hotel room as opposed to blazing a doobie or having a couple of bong rips, having a vaporizer nobody's likely to know that you're consuming medicine in your room.
Nice.
You're not going to stink. You're not going to reek up the hallways. That's for sure.
Well, are there any other aspects to vaporizing that you'd like to share with the people who are listening right now?
Not really. I mean, the obvious points are it's healthier and it saves you money. So I don't understand why everybody doesn't have one. And I think that, of course, vaporized sales continue to be strong. So more and more people are getting them. But if people really, really knew the benefit, I think I honestly believe everybody should have a home-based vaporizer. Even if you're just a weekend warrior out there, buy it for your health and then thank it for the money it saves you.
And give it to somebody in your neighborhood or in your neck of the woods who could benefit from it, just like Kelly, right, Kelly?
Absolutely, 100%.
Because that is a true act of love. And again, Kelly, before we go off to the music, you want to let people know one more time how they can get a free vaporizer?
You bet. Send me an email, Kelly, Kelly, at kdkwholesale.ca.
And remember, everybody out there who's listening, please share this with your friends and know that the next time you hear me, you'll know that it's time for hemp.
Violence over what politicians can shove it up there. As you know, we're trying to make a change by showing everyone that inside we're all the same. Forget about race, forget about your color, and eye for an eye, just love one another. It's not that hard. Well, our world is crazy. Make a change. Will everyone hang on, let this music marinate? You're hearing it firsthand from Hemp Street. From our hearts, mind, body, and soul. People think they do, but they just don't know. Open up your eyes, take a look around. If you let them, this world will bring you down. Stand back up, don't get stuck. Let these words refill your cup. Motivational speaking is what we do. This world is suffering, don't let them get you. Don't let them get you, no. Well, our world is crazy. It's like this, we'll fight for your rights, stay hyped, Live for the times you wish you could have seen twice. Get it right the first time, watch out for the fine line. Most punishment is never even really worth the crime. Yo, well life flies while you grow, so don't die young man, but never get old. I said moments like these right here, yo. I said what I live for, what I live for. A time when we can be one, as we were when we were first created. Come together as the new generation. Oh, what a sensation. Yo, don't get left out, but don't let it down. Get ready, this ship's about to get heavy. Hemp street rhythms in your face, coming at you right now. Come on! Challenge all of you to make a difference. I challenge all of you. I challenge all of you. I challenge all of you, oh, to make a change. I challenge all of you. I challenge all of you. I challenge all of you, oh, to make a difference.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. The only broadcasting network dedicated to ending the global war on drugs on iHeartRadio.
Hi, I'm Scott Morgan with Flex Your Rights. I want to talk for a few minutes about an article I had published in Huffington Post recently called 5 Reasons You Should Never Agree to a Police Search, Even If You Have Nothing to Hide. Being approached by an officer on the street or pulled over in your vehicle or approached at your doorstep and asked to consent to a search is one of the most typical situations that can happen, and the consequences can be really, really severe. So I think it's important that people understand some of the very good reasons that you should think twice before ever giving a police officer permission to search you or your things. The first one is that it's your constitutional right. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says that police need probable cause or a warrant to search you or your belongings. Unless they have probable cause or a warrant, the only way they can search is if you say, sure, fine, go ahead and search me. So why would you do that? The officer is looking for evidence to get you in trouble. That's the only thing they're trying to do. They're not trying to help you find your car keys. So giving them permission to search you makes no sense at all. The officer is an investigator, and their job is to find evidence and arrest criminals, and that's where their authority comes from. They don't have the authority to give orders to innocent people. So if they don't already have a reason to suspect you of a crime, they have no authority and no reason to be bothering you. They can't tell you to do jumping jacks or show them your boobies, and they can't tell you to empty your pockets if they don't have a good, valid legal reason to do so. And so it's not your obligation to just go along with any orders that they give you. They're not in charge of you. You're actually their boss. So, and they're here to help us. So we don't have to voluntarily let police officers dig through our things, and it's absurd to think that we would have to do that, and absurd to think that you have any interest in helping somebody investigate you whose only goal is to put you in jail for a crime. Now, the second reason, and this is a really important one where a lot of people get confused, is that refusing a search actually protects you if you end up in court as a result of a police search. Now, a lot of people point out, and this is true, that when you refuse consent to a police search, it's common for police to go ahead and search you anyway. And the reason that happens is that the officer could claim that they have probable cause for some other reason and go ahead and proceed with the search and then try to argue it out in court. Now, this happens all the time, but it's very important that you make it clear to the officer that you're not agreeing to that search. As long as you consistently said no to the search, even though the officer went ahead and did it anyway, even if they found, a bag of marijuana or something else in your car, that doesn't matter necessarily, because when you get into court, what your lawyer will do is argue that the officer didn't actually have legal grounds to perform that search. And your saying no to the search doesn't count as legal grounds to suspect you of a crime. And so it's very, very common for defense attorneys to actually win these cases. And we've discussed this with expert lawyers all over the country, and it happens every single day. And the lawyer makes what's called a motion to suppress, and they make the case that the evidence was gathered illegally, and the judge will then throw it out of court. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it's a common outcome that's only possible if you say no to the police search and assert your constitutional rights. And so what people get tripped up on is, well, if they're going to search me anyway, what's the point of refusing consent? The reason you refuse consent is because you can then get the evidence thrown out in court. And this is also true if there isn't anything found in your vehicle, but if you want to file a complaint or sue the police for harassment, obviously you can't say that they were harassing you if you gave them verbal permission to go digging around in your things. And so saying no is critical to establishing your legal standing to challenge the evidence and challenge the officer's actions. And so that's really important to understand. The third reason you should never agree to a police search is that saying no can in fact prevent a search altogether. Yes, it's true that police will sometimes search you without your permission, but it's also true that they often won't. These are what we think of as sort of fishing expeditions in many cases, where the officer, maybe they don't like the way you look or the neighborhood you're in, or maybe they just have a quota to fill and they're trying to make as many busts as they can. They will go up and ask people to search through your bag or your car for no reason. It happens all the time, all over the country. And so when you say no, when you show that you know your rights, suddenly this isn't, obviously not going to be such an easy bust for them to make, So it's common for police officers to actually back off when they realize that they don't have the legal authority to proceed, because why go to all the trouble of digging through all your things only to get the evidence thrown out in court? So this actually happens all the time, and you can go to the success stories page on flexyourrights.org and read some of the wonderful stories we've collected from all over the country, from our friends and supporters who've refuse searches successfully. And so it really shows that it works and gives you a good window into some of the right ways to do that. A fourth reason why you should never consent to a police search is that searches can waste your time and damage your property. When you agree to a police search, you're agreeing to sit there while a stranger digs through all of your things for potentially very long time. A search on the side of the highway can take half an hour, 45 minutes, and if anything's broken, then you're responsible for the damage because you agreed to let these people mess around with all of your things. Unless you want to have all of that happen, it really doesn't make sense to go ahead and give them permission to do it. The fifth reason you should never agree to a police search, and this is one that a lot of people don't even think of, is how can you really be sure that there's nothing anywhere in your vehicle that could get you in trouble? I mean, unless you bought the car new and you're the only person that's ever been in it and you know that you've never had anything illegal in the vehicle, it's really hard to be certain. I mean, you've probably given rides to a number of people. You never know what could have fallen out of somebody's pocket, or if you have passengers in the vehicle when you're pulled over, that's a concern too. And we hear about situations where a passenger sees the lights flashing behind them and they go and stick something under the seat, thinking about their own interests and not yours. And then it's also possible, if you're driving a used vehicle, that you don't know what the previous owner might have used the vehicle for. And, there can be hidden compartments deep inside your car that you don't even know about. And police are looking very thoroughly, more thoroughly through the vehicle than you might ever have. So the outcome of those searches could be very serious for you. And it's only because you waived your rights and gave the police officer permission that you're fully on the hook for whatever they find. And believe me, try telling an officer that something illegal doesn't belong to you. I didn't know it was there. They hear that all day, every day. So even if you're completely innocent, you can really get yourself in a lot of trouble by naively assuming that the police officer has your best interests in mind and that being honest and cooperative is going to work out well for you. Our prisons are just filled with people who assumed that. And, this isn't to say that we need to have a disrespectful attitude about police. That's really not it at all. The officer is just doing their job, by trying to investigate crimes. But you're doing your job as a citizen by asserting your constitutional rights. And so that's really what this comes down to. Now, for a little bit more information and some more specific techniques and advice on asserting your rights in these difficult situations, we have a lot more material on the Flex Your Rights website at flexyourrights.org, and we have a ton more videos on YouTube that you can check out that show, live action encounters and some of the best techniques for handling those. So there's a lot more material where this came from, so please check it out. And finally, if you'd like to support our work, the best way to do that is to donate through our website at flexyourrights.org. Now, all of our videos are available totally for free, but if you want to support us with a donation, we'll send you a hard copy of one or both of our DVDs, 10 Rules for Dealing with Police and Busted, the Citizen's Guide to Surviving Police Encounters. We don't want you to donate if you can't afford to, and that's why all of our material is available online. But if you do want to support our work, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and be safe out there. Take care.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network, the only broadcasting network dedicated to ending the global war on drugs on iHeartRadio. Please share us with your friends.